Okay, so one of the first things we need to do is remove the wheel. 19 millimeter, remove your lug nuts. Remove your wheel. Okay, so our next step, we're going to spray down this area right here and this area right here with some penetrant. Nice. Next, we're going to loosen this tie rod jam nut. Next, we're going to remove the outer tie rod nut. Next, we're going to bonk right here on the knuckle with our hammer. You want to be careful not to damage the threads. Now it's time to unscrew the outer tie rod end from the inner tie rod. We're going to count the turns. 1, 2, and so on. 21. Just going to use some locking pliers and hold on to the inner tie rod so it can't spin. 22 millimeter socket, and remove this jam nut. If you look right in here, you'll see your bellows boot, and there's a little clamp on the outside. Use some long nose pliers and remove that. So if you look down at the far end of the bellows boot, you're going to see like this little tab right here. It's like a metal tab. That's kind of the clamp that's holding the inner portion of the bellows boot. So I like to use a pry bar. I'm going to go right up against that tab and try to bonk it, and it should break it free. This is a one-time use clamp. We'll recycle that. Just going to put a little bit of penetrant right here. Now I'm going to grab my bellows boot. I'm going to try to twist and pull. Here we are. Check your bellows boot. Make sure it's not torn anywhere. Set it aside. So now if you look at this area right here, we want this to come out and away from the inner portion. We want it out here so I can try to grab onto it. Okay, so now we're going to use our inner tie rod end tool. Whatever tool you have, now's the time to use it. Just going to put this over. I want to try to grip onto that big area there. And I'll tighten this up. Nice. Remove the inner tie rod end. There it is. We've got our new inner tie rod end. Let's install it. Just going to get our tool on here. Just want to make sure that that's nice and tight. So now I'm just going to use some grease. Go right along this area. This is just to help keep moisture out of there. While you're at it, you might notice you have this little area right here. That's where the outer portion of the boot's going to ride. Let's put on a little bit of the grease right there as well. Your alignment professional's going to love you for it. So we've got our bellows boot. I grabbed myself a wire tie. I'm just going to start this on here. Okay, get it going. Nice. Slide it over your inner tie rod end and then all the way down over the power steering rack. Looks good. I'm going to go make sure I turn the wheel back so it's straight real quick. Okay, we're going to use some long nose pliers. Just tighten up that wire tie. Oops. Trim off the excess. It's time to get our clamp back on there. And make sure it's on all the way around, nice and level. And you want the boot to be right about where that little notch is. Beautiful. Tiny bit of copper never sees. We've got our brand new jam nut. Take your tie rod end. We're going to put it on. We're going to give it 21 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay. Put your outer tie rod end stud through the knuckle. Put your nut on there. We're going to snug it up. Tighten this up. Now we're going to torque this nut to 55 foot-pounds. That's torqued. You want to make sure that the slot's lined up with the hole inside the tie rod end. Make sure you put through a cotter pin to lock it in. Take your new lock and cotter pin. Slide it through. And pin it over so there's no way that this nut can come off of here. Let's get our wheel up on here. Lug nut on there. Let's torque these to 100 foot-pounds. Torqued.